Welcome, everyone, to What's Working. This is Cam Marston. Thank you again for joining the show. There are some people in our midst here in the city of Mobile that seem to have a touch of magic when it comes to things that usually throw people off, and that is the world of food service and restaurant business. The two guys in front of me that I'm eager to learn how they do what they do, Matt LaMond and Jake Peavy. Their touch is gold, and everything they've got around this town seems to work in the restaurant business where so many come and go so quickly. I've asked them to come and talk to me about what their business is, what their business model is, where it's going, where it's been, everything under the sun. Matt and Luke, thank you so much for your time. Welcome to What's Working.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
The post on the hill is just it's a 9-iron from where we sit right now, and it's how I came to be aware of you more through the Stamped Sandwich Company. And the food there is fantastic. I'm looking at the Michelangelo of sandwiches across from me. That's Luke Peavy. He's made some remarkable things. I keep the menu here handy on my desk in my office at all times. So I'll begin. I want to list what I'm aware of what you're doing in your businesses, and then let's talk about how you got there. So you've got Post Downtown, you've got Post on the Hill, you've got the Stamped Sandwich Company, which operates out of Post on the Hill during the day. You've got the Cedar Street Social Club music venue. You've got Outsider and the Insider Food Hall. These are all operations run by the two of you plus Luke, your brother. Is that correct?
That is correct.
How did all this come about? Let's start with you, Matt. How did all this come about? Tell me what the origination was.
Gosh, yeah. So for me, it started, actually had a business prior to all of those, actually two O'Daly's, and then I had one as well, which is across from Noja downtown, and kind of organically got into I guess you would consider it the bar scene. And I was young and had DJ'd and bartended in college, and just kind of organically happened. And then along the road of O'Daly's, Jake and Luke kind of saved the day with 1065 after Bayfest had made its exit. And I really liked their vision of like bringing it back to Mobile. And for me, with running a business, it was more about the community and the brand and less about the business. How can we create this brand that people will use and talk about and follow? And that's what I felt that they were doing with 1065. And so it kind of lit me up, and had the chance to cross paths with them, and we got in business together.
Luke, tell me about 1065. I remember it, but it was a while ago now. Let's help people remember what that was.
Yeah, it had been a while. I believe it was 2016. Jake was still playing in San Francisco, but we had already bought.
Jake, for people that don't know, when you refer to playing in San Francisco, means?
My brother played professional baseball for 15 years.
Yeah, in San Francisco.
So his last kind of couple of years were in San Fran. We had bought a building in downtown. We were looking at an investment property for our foundation. And we ran across a music studio that was owned by Tony Cooper. And so we bought it. It had offices up front. We started converting the back into music. Jake's always been into music. So we wanted to create an industry standard recording studio in Mobile. And so we had that building there. I'm in San Fran, get a phone call from Elliot Maisel, ask if we would be interested in kind of matching their funds to bring a free weekend music thing.
No kidding.
And so we hopped on, brought on that first year Brad Maggie from Soul Kitchen. We converted the studio to green room space and, for all the bands, and kind of ran operations out of there. The first year, the stage was right there at Moe's Barbecue. And it kind of grew from there. We had a good year one. And so then us and the Maisels kind of partnered, went and got Wind Creek involved, Alabama Power. And I think we did 4 or 5 years of it. The whole free aspect, just kind of, you need a lot of money every year. We're going and asking these companies for $150,000, $200,000 for a 2-day event.
Yeah.
So then we kind of just started, we're like, all right, we need to do stuff more year round. We kind of started this road to 1065 thing. We were putting smaller shows in local venues. And that's kind of where we got intrigued of, okay, we're doing this aspect in the bar scene. can we find a bar to buy? And that's kind of between fumbling around and kind of hanging out with the bar owners in downtown.
Right.
We kind of were more drawn to Matt, the way he ran business, super clean, very professional. Not what you picture as a bar owner.
Yeah.
He's not at the bar till 4 a.m. every morning, and
Yeah.
it was kind of very business oriented. And
Sometimes.
so that's kind of how the partnership formed.
How do you recall for me the first time the two of you all met? Do you remember the handshake, the conversation?
So I wasn't even at this meeting, but I remember the story because he met Jake
At Regina's. They were at the other location. And I'll finish this. And we met at Regina's. And at this point, we had kind of like had a few meetings, kind of somebody between us, and meet Jake. And like I mentioned, it was kind of like, it's kind of like your first business date. You're kind of like, do you mesh well? Like,
right.
If you're going to go into business with each other, can you, how does it feel? And so, I think that we both kind of were very aligned with the broader vision and less of just this individual business. So it felt really good and really organic. And again, this was, my baby that I had created that I would just growing every day.
You're referring to O'Daly's now.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so it was like bringing somebody into that. And it was a great meeting. Jake had to leave, and I'm talking to the other guy in the parking lot, and as Jake's leaving, he backs into the sign. And it was this steel pole sign, and it just, his truck didn't budge, the sign didn't budge, and he rolls his window down and kind of gives this smirk and rolls off. And I was like, all right, that's here we go.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So you moved to Progressed, and it led to what? So you owned O'Daly's, you became a partner with these two guys, with the Peavys, and what came out of that? What was the first thing out of that?
Yeah, and one of the biggest takeaways that I really enjoyed was that we kind of had this handshake deal that whatever we looked forward, business-wise in the future, we're inclusive with each other. So, they were getting a lot of business ideas that were brought to them that were outside of the scope that I was. A lot of people come to me and want me to operate their hospitality vision.
Yeah.
And so, it had other opportunities. They're in a candle business. I wasn't interested in joining that one, but there's other ones for me to kind of grow as well. And so they get into O'Daly's, and we opened up Post, within a year, I believe.
Downtown on Dolphin Street.
That's correct. Across the street from O'Daly's.
Right.
Then shortly after that, I would say it was 2 years after that, we opened up. So Cedar Street Social Club was already there, but the Dolphin Street frontage of the property from Cedar to Lawrence wasn't operated. And I'd kind of had this food hall vision for a while and bringing this to Mobile, and they were on board with it. And so we ended up adding the Insider Food Hall, the Outsider Sports Lounge, and then Cedar Street Social as well. We kind of dropped the club aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
It was less membership aspect and more music and open to everybody. So we really had this kind of vision of this all-inclusive block.
I'm counting. I've got 6 different concepts that you're currently running right now together as a partnership, the 3 of you. Is that right?
Correct.
And what's the end game? Is there an end game?
Yeah, I think so. Post-COVID's kind of changed the name of operating businesses in a little bit.
Tell me how that's impacted you.
Costs.
Really?
Yeah, just the cost of insurance costs, food costs, labor costs, things that you could, invest more into your people, because we're nothing without our people.
Yeah.
And we take a lot of pride in having managers for a quote unquote bar business that are with us for 8 to 10 years.
There's something about that. It's really hard to find people anywhere today that will be with you for 8 to 10 years, much less in a business that's just the reputation is high turnover, low commitment and high turnover. What's the secret? Luke, do you work with these people frequently? What is the secret?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it boils down to being a good boss, being a good human. I think it's
And you're including yourself in that category by saying
he's
that.
a great human. He's one of the best ones.
But I think too, it's kind of different between your managers and bartenders, and then once you go to, say, a kitchen staff, these the back of the house people. You have your people that up and leave you for 25 cents more an hour.
Yeah.
Something they think is, I'm gonna go to Buffalo Wild Wings, and once I learn all the wings, I get a 25-cent raise. But you're back into really corporate, the corporate world. So I think we do a great job of, we're not a big corporate company, but we could probably operate a little more corporate-ish. But I think that takes away from us being humans and the interaction that we get with the employees. So I think you got to find the good ones. It doesn't matter how good of an employee you find. Me and Matt talk about this all the time. You're never going to find somebody that loves and works as hard as you do for the company you own. It's just not, they may give you 99%, and that's what we're hoping for, but there's still going to be a little bit of lacking. So I just think for me, it's being a good boss. I don't do great with confrontation. I can, but also trying to really, really walk the line of friendship, somebody they look up to, and somebody they'll listen to at work.
It's a difficult line to walk.
It is, but I think when you're there for them and like little things that probably don't mean a whole lot to us, a car broke down and you're the first call. Like I answer the phone, they're like, "Oh my God, you answered." I'm like, yeah, like you're on my team. We are teammates. You're not my employee.
Tell me this: when you're interviewing people and you're looking for someone in the kitchen, you're looking for someone that will be customer facing. What are you looking for? Is there a magic question? Is there a feeling? Do you put them through some sort of assessment that you pay to have them go through? What is the key?
No, I'm more of a gut kind of guy. I feel like I can read a person very well. I feel like I've spent, 15 years with Jake and being in the big leagues and reading a room, reading people. I just feel like I get a better sense. So when I'm interviewing somebody, really just want to know if I need good energy. I can't do like any kind of bad energy, bad attitude. So as long as the energy is kind of what I'm feeling good at that point, I think anybody can be teachable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you lead by example. You show them how to do it. I don't tell them how to do it.
So there's not a question that you ask. There's not a situation. I've heard stories about people come into an office environment for an interview and they'll stay in the reception area and the receptionist will knock something over intentionally. And they'll watch to see what that person does. Do they jump up and offer to help clean it up, or do they watch? And the interview it's either over if they stay seated, or it propels to the next place if they jump up and help. There's no sort of scenario that you guys go through for any of your interviews.
I don't think there's a set scenario per se. Also, we've gone through so many waves of what it's been like to hire people, and as well as post-COVID, where you're, like Luke said, you're competing with fast food restaurants that are offering $500 if you stay with us for 3 months. And so we're offering tender love and care, and we really will be there for you type aspect. On my side of things, I work a lot more hand in hand with the managers on an everyday basis and kind of help coach them with their individual teams per location, while also trying to show that each individual person can come to me as well.
Yeah.
The expectations and the standard that I hold for those managers is a lot tougher and a lot harder. I want the people that work with us to be their favorite job that they ever had. You know, it's their job. Our managers, I would treat this as this is their career, and I want them to go as far into the career as they want to, whether that's owning part of a location with us, opening another one in the future. It's up to their capacity. And that's where I put a little bit more expectations on that aspect and communicate with them.
Do you coach your managers?
Absolutely.
Tell me what you most frequently need to coach them on. This is a question that could reveal, parenting trends. It could reveal kids these days. What is the thing that you need to coach most of your managers on? Because my assumption is they're more than likely under 50, probably under 40.
Under 30.
Under 30.
Under 30.
All right. So that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
What do you coach them
kind
on?
of similar to play off what Luke said. I mean, you're always learning yourself, and you're learning so much from these people. And one of the biggest lessons that I try to coach them on is empathy. That most people's actions are not based off their reaction in that moment. The stress of, as that we have young employees, so breakups, school stuff, something disgruntled at the workplace, things that don't feel in the moment like super major things can really affect everyone as a whole. And so like showing them that like giving these people a voice and being a good communicator with them will allow us to groom them into like really just good people. And we want good people to work with us, and because we end up, being better people by it.
So that's interesting, Luke. The empathy. That is not, I expected to hear you say something like showing up on time, learning the P&L, or if they have P&L responsibilities, things like that. But you were talking about an interpersonal skill that you're having to coach people on. Do you see that, Luke? Do you try to work in that zone as well?
I think that is what's so great about us. I may be more back of house and seeing not the managers, but the same thing is it's almost like raising kids. They are all so young. I want to raise a good human. Like if I can make them be a good human and not all be about themselves, then that's going to make them think about their coworkers. Oh man, I should maybe take this extra 5 minutes of prep. That's going to make my next guy's day.
Yeah.
And I think that just makes our product better. They care more, instead of just being like you saying, oh, mad because this guy didn't do this.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
that's
look, maybe
interesting.
he's having a bad day. It's kind of the whole thing. Like, I want to go into, the work day, say I meet another guy in the kitchen. And I think it's important to be like, look, man, I'm not all here today. I got 30 to give. I need you to give 70. I'll get you tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I think it's more of a, growing people and versus just like growing the tasks they can do.
And ultimately, like going back, like we're building a brand, and our brand is what we want people to use ultimately. But if they love it and they share it, they want to bring more people because they love and care about it. And that starts with our team of people that come in every day that are sharing it with the people that are giving us, everybody's giving us their greatest gift, their time.
Yeah.
They're not getting any of those seconds back. So if they're working with us or they're showing up as customers, they're giving us their greatest gift, and they use their time to earn their money to be able to pay for the products that we're providing. So it's something that like I do not take for granted, and we don't as a group. It's like such a gift to be able to do business in that way. And the same thing with our team. One of the biggest compliments is when they're off work and they come back and have lunch at Stamped or have a drink at their work. That's my biggest compliment. And it's like that's when I'm like, hey, that's the receptionist knocking the
Right.
The thing off the desk to see, like, that's the ones I'm like, those are the ones that I want to keep grooming.
They've chosen to spend their free time with you, even though they know what's in the weeds behind all this. It's like I worked in restaurants and colleges, and I thought, I'll never eat here. I've seen too much.
Right. Yeah.
I'll never eat here. You're welcome to come. And I say to the customers, glad you're here, but once I leave, I don't come back. These people are indeed coming back. So we're a little bit off track here, but I want to ask one more question before we pivot. I walk into any one of these 6 locations that you've given me here. You talked about, Luke, empathy. You teach empathy. Matt, you're trying to train it. What am I going to see? I'm the customer. And if it's going well, what am I going to feel? And we'll pick one. Well, I'm not going to pick Stamped because I'm in there a lot. There's nothing that I don't know there. But pick one of your other brands there, one of your other destinations.
Let's start with Outsider. We'll do Outsider.
Outsider. I walk in, what do I feel? What do I see that is a result of the work and the time and the attention you've paid to each of your employees? Perfect case scenario.
Yeah. Perfect scenarios. We want you to walk in and feel welcome, greeted, and like you're at the right place. The music is at the right level, whether there's the game on at Outsider and the volume is at, hey, depending on the time of the day or, if it's a lower attendance or it's later and it's a little bit louder. The lights are perfectly dimmed to the setting of that time. Our front windows are open so that you can see outside Dolphin Street. People can see in. You know, the bartender or server, you know, greets you efficiently, and you can feel that they want to be there and that they're enjoying being there, and it makes you feel like you're in the right place also.
Yeah, interesting. You pointed at a few things that can be controlled with dials, temperature and lights and volumes, but a lot of things that can't be controlled with dials. The feeling you get from that bartender,
right?
The attitude, the welcome reception. So let's pivot. How do you guys divvy up responsibilities? One of the things one of the trends that you guys continue to do so well is that your food service, your restaurant, your bars last. And in the industry, they often don't. One of the other things it appears that you do well is partnerships. Partnerships often fail. How do you define responsibilities? What's your secret there? Luke, we'll go with you.
All right. The Matt is definitely more of our day-to-day operating partner, so to speak, I guess, especially for all the bar side, the alcohol, the drinks and all that, pretty much all the employees as well. You know, I think he does a great job with that. I feel like kind of how we divvy it up is while he's doing his thing, you know, I'm maybe working on something we're a couple months out on. So we have a little music concert thing we're doing downtown in April. It'll be the first kind of bigger one in the back that we've done. We have Moon Taxi coming to play. It's a, you know, bigger artist for us to have in the back lot. We have vendors and stuff. So, you know, a couple months back, I was kind of spearheading that with who we're working with, you know, and then kind of once we get to a point, looping Matt in. I think it's just us being able to ask for help when we need it in certain areas. Like, hey, I really need help with this. You know, I know a while back we were doing a bunch of lease renewals downtown, and me and Matt really dug into that together. And that's normally something he just kind of handles himself. But we were like, hey, let's really dive in, kind of bounce a lot of stuff off each other.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I think I help kind of, Jake's a big visionary. He's not in town a lot. So I kind of more or less kind of take on his role of just being here, being, you know, present at the bars, while Matt's really working as manager. I get to really be the nice boss.
Yeah.
It's really what it boils down to.
You know, we have made this, you know, this sound like super glorious and easy and fun, I feel like, in this, you know, this, it's actually had a meeting earlier, and I was like, you know, talking about how people post on social media, like the things that they want you to see and travel. And I'm like, I usually don't post like pictures of me like paying bills at 4:30 in the morning. Nobody wants to see that.
No,
you know?
I'm familiar with that. I post the destination when I travel, not the 2 foot by 2 foot airline seat that I've just spent 4 hours sitting in.
Correct. And so, you know, I think kind of, you know, Luke hit it well. You know, Jake's broader, I feel like we kind of like our vision kind of goes from like more narrow to broader, where like I am like a little bit more day to day, kind of keeping everything, executing that aspect.
Yeah.
You know, I fan out a little bit, and I've got ideas, and I can bounce on me and Luke. We have good communication on a daily basis, you know, and then Jake will come in and throw something crazy at us. But it's so great because it's like the big and colorful aspect is inspiring, and maybe we can't do this big, gigantic, colorful thing, but we can start here. And that's all I know. All I know is planting the seed and continuing to water it.
Yeah.
You know, but having partners like that, you know, come to your help, even though my day-to-day role might be one thing, but getting the assistance with those things or having the communication aspect, it does allow you to feel like, you know, you are partners, like, because ultimately it is a business relationship.
Yeah.
And it's not always glamorous. My side of things can feel pretty daunting at times I didn't open a business or didn't pursue a business across the bay of one of our locations because I didn't want another stack of bills.
Yeah.
And I didn't want another phone call of a broken ice machine.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I don't really want to do this. The deal doesn't seem that great that I'm willing to take on those things as well.
What's the most difficult conversation the 2 or 3 of you have had to have? Any tense challenges that you now use as a template for going forward that you're willing to share?
Not really.
No, not really. I think it would be I feel like the hardest ones we've had are like, are we selling this property or are we holding on to it and carrying the costs? We have ended up buying more property in downtown that, was kind of after Matt and our partnership had started. So we have some other properties, and I think that's really been like our hardest discussions. Are we putting something in there and adding it to our plate? Are we letting this person open? Or are we kind of just waiting for the right thing? It's really, I know that's weird to hear, but I mean, if anything, it could be the most tense part of maybe just Jake being gone so much and with the communication with him.
Yeah.
It's so hit or miss, especially when he's on TV. He's like, oh, I can free up, but it'd be 11 o'clock, y'all. Stop.
We did a 10-day. Jake is a part of this music festival that's centered around spring training in Tempe, Arizona, and we've gone out there and since its inception. And 2 years ago, it was back-to-back weekends, and me, Jake, and Luke had a house in Scottsdale, and we stayed there from like Thursday to the following Monday. And I think we got more accomplished.
Oh, really?
In Arizona than we've ever accomplished in Mobile.
And we still had stuff going throughout the day, and Jake would leave, but just being in one house, it was really
we had kind of our set like work hours, that we were kind of doing our own individual emails and paperwork. But just being the creative aspect to be able to talk about that and plan some things forward and make some final decisions on some things was oh my gosh. I mean, I was like, why aren't we doing this every year? And then last year it was during Mardi Gras.
It's called a corporate retreat.
Yeah.
You didn't call it that. And that's what it didn't feel like. But it's a corporate retreat where you can't hide from each other.
Yeah.
You're under the same roof for several days. And you can't avoid these conversations. And in fact, most people are excited to have them.
Yeah.
Knowing you can feel the momentum beginning to build.
I specifically came back like rejuvenated,
Yeah.
just even rested per se.
Yeah.
It was good.
Let me ask you this, and this is personal to me because post on the Hill is just a stone's throw from where we sit. Your nucleus has been downtown. You know it up and down. They know you. And somehow, way out in West Mobile, you decided to take a risk out here. That has played out, from all I can see, very well. We had drinks in there Friday night, or Saturday night, rather, and it was busy. It's busy for lunch. I remember the good old days before everybody was coming to Stamped, and I could walk in and not have to wait long. I know that's sad for me, but good for you. What made you identify? What was it about this? And it's not exactly post on the Hill and Stamped. What are you looking for that you can identify an opportunity? Is it entirely dollars? Oh, if we can get this place for this amount, we can make it work. Or is there more to it? Either of you. You're both looking at me like, yes, I don't know that I should tell him our secret.
Obviously the dollar aspect, but I think there's definitely more to it. It's the area. Jake and I both went to St. Paul's. We know a lot of people in the surrounding area that had already been, patrons downtown, especially with Post. So we kind of felt it wouldn't be really a hard kind of grab to, have some immediate customers and stuff. And same with Matt. Matt graduated from Spring Hill, very actively involved. So I think the Spring Hill one had, yes, the money had to be, right.
Is the money 80% of the decision?
I didn't want to do it.
We definitely told him no a couple of times.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it. I had some PTSD from leasing a property downtown, and I was like, I don't want to do it again. I don't want to go through building something and watching my business baby grow into something, and then the potential of not having that control of it.
Yeah. So you were mostly, if I understand you correctly, mostly antagonistic about the idea because you didn't want to lease. You want to own.
Didn't. Yeah. It's no different than like hiring people at times, and I guess going back to that question, it's like, I'm like, I want to give you all the reasons why you might not like this job. And if you're still interested, then, hey, like, and it was kind of the same thing with coming in this property. I'm like, and I would think I'm mostly a optimistic person, but like, I kind of looked at it in a pretty like, the opposite, like, what does this really do to our time, our travel, our other businesses? And it really, for me, it came down to that aspect of we don't own the property.
But you're here.
We're here.
But you're here. It
Yeah.
seems to be working. It was the final decision, a negotiation of, all right, we need this number to take this risk.
That's right.
Correct.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, the phone call was, "Hey, I'm not putting this for lease till you tell me no." And my answer was no.
Yeah.
And I hadn't come to look at it. And I'm not that type of business person. So I was like, I'll come take a look at it. And, the bones in the field are great. The biggest challenge we have, obviously, is, you can't see it.
Yeah.
It's 150 yards off of the
Off
road.
of Old Shell Road. Yeah.
Right.
And look at how many things it had already been
Yes.
in the last, but you've been around, here for a while.
Yeah, I've been in this building
like
for 15
nothing
years.
ever
18 years.
really lasted in there.
No.
I think our kind of, pro to that was, okay, everything has been more sit down restaurant.
Yeah.
We are a bar with food.
Yeah.
It's kind of more or less how we, operate now. Once we have moved in here, it's been way more food than we've ever done or ever been used to. But it's worked.
Yeah. So going forward, would you look at something like this again? Not around here. I'm not pitching you anything, but if you said this is a one-off, it's working now, but we'll still never do this again. You've learned, or
I'm not a never say never guy. No, I think if the opportunity was right and it felt right, I think, this has been a unique situation. It's hard to like pick up something and just like put it anywhere because the identities are so different. Downtown has its own identity. There's events that happen downtown that you just open your doors for, Mardi Gras. That's not like this. And this is, this is a destination spot. Whereas post downtown, outside or inside or Cedar Street, downtown is the destination spot. People are just choosing us as their starting point or ending point. Very few people are just going to one spot downtown. We would like them to go to multiple of ours. And so it's our job to get them in the door and to keep them as long as possible. Post on the Hill is stamped. It is a destination spot. People are, commuting to that spot and leaving that spot. And so I feel like when thinking of other locations, whether it be across the bay, outside of Alabama, it's how that relates to the locations that we have.
what would you do differently to this post on the hill if it had road frontage? What if it were on Old Shell Road? Would you treat it any differently? Do you have to treat it uniquely as a destination spot that's 150 yards off the road?
Well, I think it's just a destination spot because it's not like there's a community of venues. So you're saying, hey, I'm going to Stamped for lunch today. And
Right.
I'm leaving Stamped for lunch. But I don't know if we would treat it any differently.
I don't think so.
No. I do know the retailers around here love you guys back there because they get a lot of eyeball time as they go the 150 yards through their different facilities.
I think we all work well together. I think that I think it's great for all of us to have a community like that.
Do you still consider yourself bartenders, back of the house guys, or are you business people in the restaurant business? Do you still see yourself in food service or business people who do restaurants and bars?
I would say that I'm for sure more on the business side.
Yeah.
I don't think either of us mind to get our hands dirty. Luke is very active in Stamped and in the kitchen and very, hands-on.
Yeah.
Time-wise, I wish I had more time to be in the trenches on a more regular basis. I think with my limited time also goes with coach and managers that there's no hierarchy in this business. If the best idea is the person that's cleaning the place or the person counting the money, we're taking the best idea no matter who it is.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Luke?
I feel like I'm a little more hybrid at this point. I feel like I was more on the business kind of running, quote unquote, idea executing side until we launched Stamped. And it was just, I knew the product I wanted to push out. I knew in my mind I was going to be back there making sandwiches every day until the new year. I progressed a little quicker than that with the great team we have. But I think now it's probably, I'm 50% hands-on in the kitchen, ordering, doing all that, and then now back to the other half of my time getting to focus on the more business side of events downtown, or, kind of our future and where we're going. And the goal would be to get back to where, I'm more on the business kind of upper side of not in the kitchen daily.
There's a great book out there called The E-Myth. Are you familiar with The E-Myth? It's about entrepreneurs, and an entrepreneur has an idea, and he or she is a practitioner of the idea. And the idea that they use in The E-Myth is, I'm really good at fixing air conditioners, and I'm going to start an air conditioning business. But if the business grows as the entrepreneur hopes it was, they'll have to stop fixing air conditioners at some point and start managing and leading a business and hiring people. And that's the transition that you guys have been through. You had your hands, Luke, in making sandwiches, but now you're no longer making the sandwiches. Maybe a little bit, but not like you were. In the E-Myth, the book, the guy that starts the air conditioning business begins to realize he missed that part of the work, going to people's houses and fixing their air conditionings, and he don't want to do what he's now doing. Can you relate in any way? You miss shucking drinks. You miss making sandwiches. You miss looking over the bar. You miss.
We did it.
Yeah.
We did it. COVID. I mean, boom and zoom. I don't think I'd had a job that required me to show up at a certain hour as an adult, outside of once I got out of college. And so COVID happened, and we'd come up with the idea to try to grow our pizza, brand of O'Daly's to Mobile. So we were like, hey, legally only we can deliver, for insurance purposes, but whatever we received in tips, we would give back to our staff.
Yeah.
And we got to the point that we maxed out from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. the amount of pizzas that we could buy, frozen dough, buy, store, sell. And we were doing it every day. But every day we would show up down there at 2:00, make some ridiculous video. By 3:00, we were getting calls, and we were doing deliveries till, 9:00.
Yeah.
And I literally was just riding my bike from Midtown to downtown every day. And it was like, it felt good. It was like, it was the first time I had to clock in and clock out in maybe my adult life.
Do you miss that today?
For sure.
You do?
For sure.
Do you see yourself going back at some point saying, all right, I'm as successful as I need to be. It's now time to return to getting my hands on what I used to enjoy?
There are days that it feels that way.
Luke?
Yeah, well, I'm getting to do a little bit of it now.
Yeah.
With being in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I would for sure would miss it if I was completely out of it.
Yeah.
But Stanch is a little, kind of a unicorn baby. I'm only open 15 hours a week.
Yeah.
I do get to create something once a week with a sandwich of the week, and kind of get my creativity kind of out. But I think it's always inside of you, So I think there are definitely times where you're like, man, I would like. People think it's weird, but coming to the kitchen on a Friday at Stamped, and we prep for an hour. We open for 3. Friday we do an average about 160 sandwiches. So you're talking about a sandwich a minute.
Yeah.
And then you clean up for an hour. There's really nothing like being in the grind with a team.
Oh yeah.
And doing it and getting done and be like, oh crap, we just did that.
We did a good job.
And then I need to go sleep for 3 hours. But I think it's those kind of moments where you're moving and grooving as a team. It is something special.
Yeah.
I know it's not for everybody, but Jake would not do well in the kitchen aspect.
I loved my time in food service in college, and they were always the craziest and strangest people that I worked with. New Orleans had something to do with it. And they would say, Cam, do you want to come out with us tonight? And I'd go, yeah. And I knew I was going to see something I'd never seen before. I think everybody should spend some time doing food service at some part in their life, because it teaches team. It's a whole different slice of the world. And I kind of know what you're referring to, because at the end of a busy shift, we'd all look at each other and go, where did the time go? I'm exhausted. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned Mobile a moment ago. do you have colleagues outside of Mobile that are in the business? What makes Mobile unique?
Yeah, I mean, Mobile to me it's kind of like that if you build it aspect. And I think that's what we've seen with Stamped and Post on the Hill, is that this community like really just wanted and needed this. But it allows you to like nurture the community a little bit and less about, I mean, speaking of New Orleans, I'm from New Orleans.
Oh, okay.
And so many people are like, how come you've never opened anything in New Orleans? And it's like, you're either kind of competing with the Drew Breeses of the world that can use it as a tax write-off,
right,
or the places that have been open and are still lit by candlelight.
Yeah.
And for me, it kind of takes away a little bit of the personality aspect of that. It might be Post on the Hill, but it's really Luke and Matt and Jake and K-May and Randy, all of those people that it really is the face of these brands.
Right.
And I think that there's like some personal commitment and satisfaction from that type of growth and supporting a community that you live and love.
Do you see, Luke, anything that makes this community different in either we sell a whole lot of this where they don't sell any of this anywhere else, or, and I'm not talking about moon pies, but we go through this and my colleagues in the restaurant business could never sell one of them. Is there a special taste or flavor or diet that comes up here?
I don't really think so. I just kind of, when I look at, other buddies that have, bars in Chicago, like in Wrigleyville or in Austin, it's just such a corporate world, but you are also competing with a line of 15 other bars, so like when I go up there and I look at that, I look at how they're operating, it really is kind of different than we are. Like it almost makes us feel like we have more of a mom, pa, family style, where once you get kind of into that world, and I think that's just what makes Mobile special. But even like the whole downtown community of Mobile, that's where most of our bars are, but like all the bar owners, it's like a family down there. Everybody looks out for each other. Nobody's trying to step on each other's toes. Competition's great. Please, we talked about it. People, when Grace opened right beside us in between Chuck's and Post downtown, they're like, oh man, I'm like, no, that is great. More people will be coming down to eat dinner now. They're going to see, our bar that they may have never seen before. They're going to get a drink after, get a drink before. So we love all that. But I think Mobile is just that kind of family aspect. Everybody's kind of in it to beat you, but also in it with you.
So there's not a savage competition feeling there. And I've heard the same thing from Frankie Little with Roosters. Mm-hmm. He's like, you wouldn't believe the collegiality of this community. If somebody needs something, their competitor across the street is very much like,
can we share, hey, can you sponsor this? Or hey, who's got a contact for this ice machine program?
Yeah, right.
You can tell I've got some PTSD with these ice machines. But even just downtown and the Spring Hill area, we do more beer and wine here, and we do more cocktails down there.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So.
Interesting. I wonder what that means. It's got to mean something.
Something.
I have no idea what it means.
I have some takes, but we'll save it for after.
So if you could knock in your travels, your experiences, your background in New Orleans, Luke, it sounds like you're on the road a lot with kind of keeping up with your brother and stuff. Do you ever can you ever go into a bar or a restaurant and simply enjoy it? Or is there a radar up at all times saying, there's an idea, or I would do this? Can you simply consume whatever served in front of you, or are you always working?
I think you're always like, how can you get better if you're not always working?
Yeah, you just can't turn it off.
But also we do turn it off. Me and Matt went to Ireland and we turned it off.
Yeah. I think it's hard for me. It's hard for to turn it off in Mobile.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you're not, in one of our brand's locations, it's hard for me to turn it off. I think being out of town, it's no different when, you go out with your colleagues and you talk about work, or, the people at the gym and you're with gym buddies and you talk about gym stuff. It's hard not, because that's your common bond and communication. And so, I think that enjoy it. Yes, for sure. It's a lot easier out of town. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the sole reasons also that I don't want anything in New Orleans. because I don't want to go back to where I'm from and feel like I've got, a work commitment there. But I mean, yeah, we went to Ireland. We've traveled a lot together, and we go to a certain place. We're like, oh, that's a really cool idea. We're enjoying it.
Yeah.
I enjoy the Mobile. It's a different kind of enjoy.
Yeah. Interesting. Is there one bar or restaurant that you've been to that you said, I'd love to claim that this was mine? I'd love to be the originator of this concept that you just really envy, admire, like an author may read somebody else's book and say, gosh, I wish I could have written this.
Yeah, mine would be 100% the Christmas pop-ups bars that happen in New York, Chicago, the big cities. Where
Tell me about this.
They take basically 24 hours and they decorate every square, like it's Christmas threw up. And it's their bar popping. I'm talking nothing looks the same, outlandish. My buddy in Chicago, they would spend about $30,000 just on the decorations
of
their Christmas pop-up. And then they would charge a cover. People would come in for the whole Christmas season. And it's, I'm a Christmas guy. So if I ever wanted to claim
look,
one,
you have a couple of landscapes going.
It would be a Christmas
Find some
pop-up
sponsors.
Right.
So let me make sure I understand. They take their normal facility and they close it for a period of time to decorate it over the top.
Oh, North Pole.
Anything like
open the doors for 24 hours or something like that.
No, they stay open for the whole holiday season. They'll close for 24 hours.
I understand.
And bring a crew in. So it's done, like that. It's not
it's a surgical
week long,
strike. Right.
It takes us 3 days for our minimal decorations we do. That's not a knock against our team, but they're bringing a professional decorating crew that they are paying.
Yeah.
To flip this bar.
Yeah. And then once Christmas season over,
it goes away.
Pull it all out and it comes back to what it was.
Yeah. But you have the bigger cities, so every year, the top 10 are rated.
Yeah.
So it's the publicity.
It's a thing.
They're charging a cover to get in because it's so popular now. So it's a whole kind of mini month-long concept.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. Matt.
I've gone to Denver so many times in the last few years. Mobile was doing those direct flights, and I really fell in love with Denver. And actually, the Insider Food Hall was kind of brought to life. I'd visited probably close to 50 food halls, but there was Avanti Food Hall, which kind of really where it was kind of mirrored from. And there's a location across the street from it called Happy Camper, and it's that, like I was mentioning, you walk in and you feel the lights and the music and the energy. It's like they're consistently got it. And I think my type A brain works in funny ways, and so seeing their level of just consistency on that aspect, and the places very fun and decorated cool. I think that's kind of one that I could see us emulating at one point.
Yeah. Trying to knock it off. Trying to do your best to steal the idea.
That's a good word.
Yeah.
Imitation, right? Flattery, right?
We talked about staff a little bit. Are you fully staffed? Most people are complaining about staff. They can't get who they need. They've got not enough. Do you feel like you guys are fully staffed? Because that's a big part of the conversations I have.
Yesterday.
Yeah, I think you're always kind of hiring. And we're, all our shifts are covered. We don't have people, having to work crazy amounts of overtime to get everything covered. But I don't know. I feel like you could always use one or two more good ones. If you find them, throw it out there, and you may find one that, is your next MVP of the team. So I feel like it's worth, seeing who's looking.
Yeah, and with having younger teams, I mean, they graduate, they take time off.
Yeah, we got two taking a month off at Bristol Hill.
And so it's, you're just kind of filling spots for that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You're not in a crisis mode. Mm-hmm. You got everything. Most of the leadership type of employers that come through this podcast say the same thing. I'm always hiring. If I find talent, I'm going to find a place to use them, and because they're going to generate something for me in time. I just got to figure out how to do that. So it's a very similar answer. So let's look in the future. You got 6 properties now. You got different concepts. What's next? What's my sense is that you can't rest on your laurels before too long. If everything begins to to operate smoothly or relatively smoothly, and the ice machines don't break for a period of time, you're going to say, all right, here's what's next. What's next?
I think it's probably the first time in a while that I think we're kind of like really pouring into, the children that we do have. I think the opportunities, it's no different than the finding the right team member and in always kind of hiring. I think our eyes and ears are always open to opportunities.
Yeah.
We have a decent bit of our own square footage that is, for lease and unused. And it's hard for me to think too much of anything outside of trying to fill those types of spaces, whether it's like something that we put in there or a business that could work well in that spot. But in the meantime, like we've got some good things nurturing, and
meaning what you're working on now, what's already open now, the 6
Correct.
different properties that
Correct.
we've listed.
And if construction costs were what they were in 2016 to 2018, it'd be a different story than what it is right now.
I can understand that. Luke, what about you? What do you see as next? I mean, I can't imagine you're going to answer something radically different from what I heard. But
No. I think, we literally had a discussion a few months ago as we ended up walking on a piece of property that we were going to buy. And it was more or less like, we're going to continue to buy properties, that we're going to kind of shelf them, so to speak, versus really pouring into what we have. And I think a lot of it's, the 500 block downtown. We have a really grand vision for our back lot. We have about 60,000 square foot of grass in downtown, on a block that we already have food and alcohol and music in. This back lot could just be prime. It could be Matt's Happy Camper knockoff. But I mean, we have the grand vision of a wiffle ball field, and it looks like you're in a mini stadium. Jake's duck boat's down there, kind of plays in the part of the wiffle ball field. We already have a stage out there to start doing more of these concerts we have coming up in April. And just really cultivating a family-friendly destination. It already is, but giving the outdoor space, kind of what we see when we travel, like a place like, Denver, where they're like, oh, let's go to the back lot. Let that be the destination, and we have everything they need around them where they don't leave.
Yeah. Many of those communities, Denver being one, I've spent a little time there. California being one. The outdoors is another room of their house, another room of their business. Mobile, it's another room for 4 or 5 months a year.
Yeah, that's the difficult part.
Yeah,
how hot it gets. All the rain. But I think, and we've seen it here at Post on the Hill, it gets hot. People they're still out in the lot.
Yeah,
so that's something we could do with better, updating, our outdoor, spaces here, because the inside is a little small, with fans, different things. So I think there's always something we're discussing, looking at, to improve. And I will say, don't let a business idea come by that's a good one, because Matt will jump just as high as we will.
Well, I'm going to pitch you when the microphones are off, by the way. What is you guys have seen so much. What is Mobile missing? Not in the restaurant scene or the bar scene, but you guys have an eye for things that work. What do you think our city needs? Like a Major League Baseball team.
Yeah, I don't think, obviously we're never going to get that. I am excited about, the hockey team coming.
Yeah.
I think we could do a better job of getting like a hockey team, maybe a, independent league baseball team. I think Mobile needs a team to rally behind. I know that everybody's going to argue because we've had them before and haven't supported them. I think our city's in a completely different spot.
Interesting.
Now I think you have a lot of people they're my age and younger, having kids. They're, making the transition back to Mobile, and there's really not a whole lot to do but go out and drink. So I think some type of team aspect. I would love to, see an amphitheater, around, but,
Matt, what does Mobile need?
Yeah. So kind of to play off his amphitheater, I think an effective use of the waterfront. we're the port city, which is great. And it's, it's essentially our nickname for being a port, but we have that incredible waterfront. And I mean, you were the keynote speaker for the DMA luncheon.
Right, Downtown Mobile Alliance.
Correct. And the year before, the keynote speaker said, and I don't know if this is the answer or whatnot, but he said, pick up your convention center and move it.
Right.
And that's not necessarily what I'm saying that we need to do, but we have so much, we have waterfront, and it's like, I mean, figuring out that, Water Street connection to downtown.
Yeah.
And I think that really bringing people downtown on a regular basis. Cause I mean, the influx of business that we get downtown through Mardi Gras, which is carnival season. I think that if we utilized our waterfront and had more of amphitheater style music and entertainment, I think that bringing people down into our city, I mean, we have two of the biggest interstates. 1065.
1065. I remember the origin of the concept that you put on. That was clever. I had candidate Spiro, now Mayor Spiro, on this show, and he talked a number of times about, all right, this is a treasure, the waterfront. We need to figure this out. And there's so many that have done it well. It would be wonderful. I agree. It would be wonderful. Final comments, final thoughts. What have I not asked you that you wish I would have asked?
What's your go-to order at Stamped?
Oh, right now it's the not the country club. I eat half of it, and then I have to work hard to not eat the other half of it.
Do you dip it in the honey mustard?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
He was about to judge
I was
you.
going to get on to you if you didn't.
Oh, yes, I absolutely do. And I bring it all home, and I eat it for dinner that night. And, oh, gosh, in your sandwich of the week last week, which I forget what it was, but it had some pimento cheese on it.
Oh, the hot ham and brie.
Yeah. I'm getting a little teary.
My kitchen staff appreciates your little notes on your online orders. Just
When
so
I
you
order
know.
online, it's like, I got to say something. I've got to say something.
What does it say?
Last week said yummy.
Yeah. I'm just going to put something on there. An opportunity to hopefully bring a smile to somebody. Gentlemen, you guys, I hope you've been told this at some point, but you're a big asset to the city. Your products, your concepts are really solid. No one wonders how long will they be here. They're like, oh, these guys are making the investment in this property. They're doing this. They're now doing this. We can count on it being here, and we can count on it being very good. So as a citizen of this fair town, thank you. Really, thank you. And as a consumer of the sandwiches, I want to tell Michelangelo of sandwiches over here, thank you as well. Really appreciate it. Yeah. I appreciate your time. Thank you both.
Thanks
Thank
for having
you.
us.
You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. We'll wrap this show up and have another show for you upcoming. I'm trying to remember. Arthur Gonzalez is going to talk to us about Sandler sales here. Before too long, he'll be in the studio in about 10 days, and we'll broadcast him shortly after that. You're listening to What's Working. That'll be all.